We've each filled out our brackets. We probably have some very similar things,
or not,
or maybe Dom because of his
we'll
college basketball prowess.
Yeah, I have man-sized prowess. Here's the thing: I'm going to preface everything I say with this undisputable fact. I know about college basketball. Here's the thing. I'm winning the bracket because I have a team from Texas making it to the Final Four, and it is not Baylor. I know. You're sitting there like...
If that stuff was to happen, you would win a lot.
You'd win a lot of money. You should really enter this into the bracket challenge because it's free.
You really should.
Yeah.
No one would ever catch you.
Nobody else is picking this I'll tell you that.
I am winning this bracket based upon the fact that I have man-sized prowess.
Welcome in, everybody, to another episode of the Joe Schmo Sports Show. Per usual, I'm your host, Clint Webb, along with my co-host, Mr. Dominic Battistella.
What's going on, Clint?
And the man on the ones and twos, the one that makes all the magic happen, Mr. Dre Cameron.
What's up, y'all?
And today we are talking a little college basketball because...
Of course we are.
I don't know if you guys heard, but
what happened?
Selection Sunday was yesterday.
Yeah.
Because today is Monday. What's the date? March something or another?
15th March.
And so the selection show was March 14th, so that was last night. And
what happened?
A lot of things happened. Okay.
Do we have a bracket?
We do have a bracket.
Can I fill it out from my pool now?
We've each filled out our brackets. Okay. And so we probably have some very similar things.
Or not.
Or maybe Dom because of his
college
basketball prowess.
Yeah, I am.
I have decided to go with...
I have man-sized prowess
with
when it comes to college basketball.
Tennessee winning the national championship.
That is incorrect.
So we're going to talk a little college basketball. So let's just start off with who's not in it, because I think that is a huge story.
Yeah,
okay?
We've talked about this a little bit before in our previous conversations about Blue Blood.
So not...
is that where y'all going?
Yeah, because it's not...
I'm thinking, probably, right?
Because snubs is really hard this year because a lot of people didn't play a lot of games.
Sure,
so we'll talk snubs in a second, but let's talk about ones that are not snubbed, that were just
they just sucked. Yeah.
Not able to participate in said tournament. Okay.
Yes.
So we got Kentucky,
of course,
of the SEC, the mighty Kentucky Wildcats.
Yeah, they shit the bed this year.
They did
sure,
9-16, so they were not asked to join. They are looking forward to the Kentucky Derby that's coming up here probably in the next couple months or so, as long as they continue.
They got to have something.
They got to have something, right?
Yeah.
And I don't feel sorry for either one of these teams, so let's just go ahead and say that. So Kentucky was 9-16, first time they missed a tournament since 2013 after they won the national title. So it's not that much of a drought. It hasn't been that long since they haven't made the tournament.
I can't think of a better team for it to happen to.
Except for Duke.
Yeah.
Who also was not good enough to be invited. And
some people meaning
let's say quote unquote experts.
The experts
in the USA Today says that Duke at 13-11 is snubbed.
That's stupid.
By the NCAA.
That's just
they don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
So Duke dropped out of the ACC tournament because of COVID issues. Same with Virginia.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So it always seems that Coach K finds a way to opt out when shit's not going right. But that's just... I digress back to 1995 when the last time they didn't make the tournament.
Yes.
You talking about back surgeries?
I will...
What were you talking about?
Back surgeries, hip surgeries, COVID, whatever he's going to say.
I don't think it was his choice to pull out of the tournament.
But he decided to shut the program down for the year. But then, now apparently they're being discussed as one of the quote-unquote replacements, which...
Yeah, that's horseshit.
Which I want to get into.
Give it to a team that actually deserves it.
I want to get into the replacements for a second. So here's what happens. So you have to have 7 straight days of negative COVID tests in order to participate in the NCAA tournament.
Okay.
You have to let the league know by Tuesday, tomorrow, if you plan on participating in the NCAA tournament.
Okay.
So, like Virginia, for instance, it hasn't been 7 days since they had a positive test because that's why they dropped out of the ACC tournament on Friday or Saturday.
Yep.
So they can't have 7 days before Tuesday. So what they have to do in their situation is they have to quarantine in Charlottesville, take tests, and have 7 straight days of negative testing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, in Charlottesville.
Yeah.
Every team that is in Indianapolis, and most teams have traveled to Indianapolis already.
Okay.
The Big Ten played their tournament in Indianapolis, so they were already there.
Yep.
They just have to have 7 straight days of COVID-free testing.
So explain what happens if, say, Virginia does not pass protocol.
This is the thing that I am a little not necessarily foggy about, but I just don't understand what they're trying to do. But let's start here, though. So let's say there's a player on Virginia that tests positive.
Okay.
We'll use Virginia only because of the, right?
Yeah. Because
they
the
test
other
positive.
team with recent issues
is not in the
playing
tournament,
in the tournament.
as we previously discussed.
Yeah.
So what the NCAA says is, and this is crazy, and Dre, from a basketball player, I want your opinion on this.
Mm-hmm.
NCAA said, as long as you have 5 players, you are playing the game.
Yeah.
As long as you have 5 healthy players,
I heard them say
not
that
on
too.
contact tracing, you are playing the game.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're talking about 5 guys. Now, let's not feel sorry for these guys from this aspect. They're young. They're extremely athletic.
Yes.
They're in insanely ridiculous shape.
Yeah.
So can they play 40 minutes? Yes. That's the answer is yes.
Will it be?
However,
will they be at a competitive
it's
disadvantage?
not, yes, they will be at a competitive disadvantage because it's so. Let's take.
Rare. It's rare.
It is
that
rare.
all 5 of your players
You're not.
can play.
I don't know if
40
that's
minutes.
ever happened.
You can probably have 2 or 3 players on your team,
A la
that can
Bobby
play
Hurley and
the
Christian
entire
Laettner.
game.
Right,
You know
right.
what I'm saying?
No,
But
yes,
all 5,
I get that.
that's going to be tough.
I don't think
now,
it's ever
they're
happened.
going to have to do it though. They don't really
Maybe.
have a choice but to do it.
Maybe.
You know what I
Maybe
mean?
if it comes up,
If
if
they
that
don't
situation
have,
comes up.
if they don't have 5 healthy
Here's the
players.
thing that I'm confused about.
Yeah.
So Louisville,
Okay.
they're the biggest snub of the NCAA tournament,
Mm-hmm.
right? So they had a net ranking of 45. They were 13-7. They were 8-6 in the
So
ACC.
says
They have some
Clintonian Webb,
quad
yes.
ones wins.
Mm-hmm.
They're considered the first replacement if a team cannot go. My question is, let's say Gonzaga pops with a positive test on Thursday of this week.
Or they just decide they're not going to play.
That's not going to happen with Gonzaga because right now this is their best shot to win a national title. We can talk about that in a few minutes. But what does Louisville, being the first replacement, do they jump into that number 1 spot and play that 16 team?
Yeah,
Because
I
I
would
don't
think
know.
so, because
Louisville jump
that's-
into that
That's
number?
the only thing you could do. You couldn't
You can't reseed
reorder
the 2,
everybody.
right? So you can't move.
Yeah, you
like,
can't
see-
reseed everybody.
So, for instance,
Hey,
the
hey,
2 in
hey,
that
hold
aspect
on.
is Iowa.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Mhm.
You could reseed any of these guys. It's not like they're having to move them around. They're all in Indiana.
So here's
They're
the thing.
all in-
You're
they're
right
all
about
going
that.
to Indianapolis.
No, you're right
they
about
can
that.
reseed the whole fucking tournament.
But
It
how?
doesn't matter.
But let me. But where does it stop?
Yeah,
What-
exactly. So
I mean,
So
are
do-
you talking about infinite regression? How many teams are not going to show up because of COVID?
What,
we don't
0.
know.
0. The answer
But-
is 0.
Right.
But here's
if
the
they
thing.
had to
So,
replace
but-
a team, why not just reseed
So
the whole
if
tournament?
where do you put Louisville? Do you put them at an 11 seed? Because those are usually the last 4 in. They do 11 seeds in play-in games. Like for instance,
Okay,
you
sure.
have
Sure.
Wichita State and Drake.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So there's a play-in game.
Yeah.
So what do? Do you move the 2 seed Iowa up to play Norfolk or Appalachian State and
Why
just
not?
keep moving people until you get to another 6 seed or 7 seed or
Sure.
8 seed, whatever you
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know.
There's
like-
too
But then
much
you're
money. There's
some-
too much
there's
money
not- hey,
involved.
Hold on.
to happen.
Somebody knows the answer to that question.
Somebody knows the answer.
And I'm sure there's a procedure already laid out
There's
for that.
gotta
We're
be.
just not aware of it, which is entirely true about anything that we ever say on this show. Somebody knows the answer, and we just don't.
Yes.
So,
Hit us up on
Second
Twitter at JSchmoSports.
exactly.
If you know the
Second
answer.
thing.
Well, they may have
Second
been
thing.
talking about it already on Sports Center.
I'm sure
I
they
haven't
have.
I'm
watched
sure
it.
they have. And
I've just missed
we
it.
just are too busy for that shit. Anyway, the thing that you were saying, Dre, that there's too much money involved
Yeah.
to shift this all around, because
Mm-hmm.
I assume you're talking about bracket betting and things like that.
Yes.
Is the NCAA the type of organization that would say, we are more interested in making sure that we have this seeded, or we are more interested in making sure Las Vegas
Let
is
me help.
happy?
Let me help you
I
out with
think they
this.
care
Yeah.
more about Vegas.
I think it goes back to I agree with you, Dre, and it goes back to exactly what you said a few minutes ago. Talk about a political organization.
Yeah.
With the NCAA.
But they are a political organization, and if there may be a desire to make it look like they're not as an amateur organization.
I
to
understand
make it look like they're not beholden to making sure that the brackets stay intact the way they are so that Vegas doesn't lose a whole bunch of money.
Okay, Dre, so let me put something else towards you here with this whole scenario. So let's say you have it and you're moving teams around. You're moving the 2 to the 1 because let's just call it, stick with Gonzaga not playing. So you move Iowa up to Gonzaga's spot. You move Kansas down to Iowa's spot. You move Virginia down to Kansas' spot, et cetera, et cetera. As a basketball player, okay, you are scouting and going with these teams, right? Somebody pops a positive COVID test the day before you're supposed to play, and then shit gets rearranged.
Yeah, now you're playing somebody else.
Now you're playing somebody else. You have a completely different game plan. So is it something that you think is a hindrance to the players, not the coaches, to the players? Or are the players just going to say, you know what, fuck it, we're just going to go out there and ball?
That's going to happen anyway. I don't think they worry about. I don't think they worry about who it is they're playing. It's
well, because they all play each other anyway.
Are going to play, but if you're slated to play, it's not going to matter. Not to the kids,
but to the coaches. That's where you're going to come in.
The coaches are even going to worry about it because you don't know who you're going to end up. You play 2 games every weekend through this tournament. Yeah. So as long as you win,
and it could be anyway.
It could be against anybody. Exactly. Yeah.
So I don't think it's much of a hindrance at all.
Yeah. I just don't know what's going to happen with it. I'm super interested. I hope that they have to call in Louisville so we can see what happens.
Yeah. And it's more frustrating for us than it is the players.
Right. Okay.
So let's ask a question. Where do we think that we talked about Louisville as a snub? We talked about some of the people that they think could be snubs but really aren't. What about where teams are positioned? The one thing that I'm thinking of is North Carolina got in. They're an 8 seed.
Right.
Georgia Tech won the ACC tournament. Yep. They were a 4 seed in the ACC tournament. North Carolina, correct me if I'm wrong, it's a 6, right?
6,
And Georgia Tech is a 9 seed.
Right.
When was the last time an ACC tournament champion came in at 9?
I don't know the answer to that, and I don't think there is an answer to that because every time the ACC has been so dominant over the last however many years.
This season's a complete aberration.
What's crazy?
Players can't practice. Nothing about this season even smells.
You want to hear a crazy stat?
What's that?
For the first time since 1996.
Yeah.
This ACC tournament final.
Yeah.
Between Georgia Tech and Florida State did not contain either North Carolina or Duke in the ACC championship game.
I'm just surprised that is true, right? Not that
Carolina
that
and Duke.
It's been that long since one of them hasn't been in it.
But that shows the dominance of the ACC.
No, it shows the dominance of those two
Correct,
programs.
but those 2 programs have dominated the national stage for decades. You have the Kentuckys that you mix in there, the Syracuse every once in a while, the Kansas that's good, the Gonzagas that are consistently good, stuff like that. All right, so let's get back to your seeding thing. Yeah. So Georgia Tech, I think they got the short end of the stick. I think UNC got the short end of the stick.
You think UNC got the short end of the stick?
I do. I think that we should have been a 7 seed.
Yeah, well, if ifs and buts was candies and nuts, we'd all have a Merry Christmas.
And I think that's coming
you're
a lot.
Squabbling at that point.
No, not really. You look at the matchups that it changes.
UConn. All right. Let's look at the number 7 seeds. Is North Carolina better than Oregon, UConn? Fuck, Clemson. All right, there we go.
Clemson beat us this year.
And then Florida. Yeah,
Clemson beat us this year, but that doesn't really matter.
Then you got Virginia Tech.
We're not. I don't think we're better than Florida.
Okay.
We're not better than Florida. But let me tell you, on the seed line, UNC fell 31st on the seed line. All right, so you break that up into 4 different divisions, and you tell me what seed they should have had. They should have had a 6 seed or a 7 seed.
How did that happen then?
That's eye test a lot. And we do turn the ball over a lot. We have very unfavorable matchups in this bracket. I just think that I wish we would have gotten either a 7 seed or a 10 seed.
I was thinking 10.
And I would have been okay with a 10 seed. I think that we have the worst matchup in the world with Baylor if we get past Wisconsin. Yeah. Worst possible matchup. Baylor shoots over 42% from the 3-point line. We like to give people 3-point opportunities and 3-point field goals.
Yeah, that's no good.
And so that doesn't really help.
Honestly, I'm surprised if Carolina gets past Wisconsin.
Well, I think we'll beat Wisconsin. We historically have good games with Wisconsin. They play a lot like Virginia does.
Yeah.
The thing that's going to hurt Wisconsin against North Carolina is because we're a bad matchup for them.
Yeah.
Because so
we actually have a front court.
So
that can match
their claim to fame this year is that they are a pretty decent 3-point shooting team. They've averaged 9 3-point field goals made in the last 10 games.
Okay.
But they're only shooting 33% from the 3-point field goal percentage for the year. Okay. But they have been hot lately. And again, as we talked about a second ago, this is Carolina's weakness. Okay. And so if we take that into the equation, Wisconsin has the advantage. In North Carolina's advantage is they actually don't have a front court to speak of this year. They don't have the Jaminskis that they're used to having, or Kaminsky's. Frank Kaminsky. They don't.
Some very large.
They don't have him like they're used to. They don't have that front court that they're used to. They don't have that big man that can step out and shoot the ball like they used to.
No.
And so
all about Wisconsin is every time I see them,
there's a bunch of white guys shooting threes.
They have a bunch of 7-foot-tall white guys.
That's true. 9 times out of 10.
They're so just, fundamentally sound.
That's just what I think of when I think of Wisconsin.
But this year, much like every other win that Carolina has had this year, we will wear them down inside.
I hope so.
And that's just what happens. Now, the one thing that I'm perplexed about is Oklahoma State. Okay? Oklahoma State and Kansas. So if you look at Oklahoma State, they're the 4 seed in Illinois' bracket in the Midwest. And if you look at Kansas, they're the 3 seed in Gonzaga's bracket in the West. Okay?
Yeah.
So Oklahoma State just got done beating Kansas twice in a row.
I got them beating Illinois.
Okay? And it would be so easy. I do too in one of my brackets. It would be so easy to switch them from the 3 seed to the 4 seed because they actually grade out, Oklahoma State does, as a 2 seed. With their quad 1 wins. They have a player of the year, national player of the year, not candidate, but probably going to win.
Okay.
And Cade Cunningham as a freshman.
Okay.
And they are just a dynamic, fun team to watch.
Okay.
And I know it's squabbling here, 4-3, but you, again, look at what it does to their matchups. And it's those are the things that
I think Kansas.
Kansas is not very good.
But they almost have a cakewalk to the elite.
Yeah, but boy, I'm going to sit here and tell you, I normally think that Carolina has the hardest road to the championship.
I always think that. Every single
that.
season.
Yeah, but you know what? I would say 75% of the time we're right.
Yeah.
That West bracket.
Yeah.
Is fucking loaded, dude.
Sure.
You got Gonzaga as the number 1. You got Iowa as the number 2, who is one of the highest scoring teams in the country and has another Player of the Year candidate in Garza. And then you have Kansas at the 3 and Virginia at the 4.
Yeah.
Defending
that
champion Virginia at the 4 seed. And don't get it twisted. Virginia's no different than any other Virginia team. Yep. They're all going to make you score 40 or 50 points. They're all going to score 50 or 60 points.
Yeah.
And it's just going to be a boring-ass game that they're going to wear you down with defense and shot clock usage.
And they're going to make you take bad shots because
they are going to make you take bad shots.
Because you're going to get frustrated and try and force it.
Yeah.
You still got teams in there that's even better than them, like Oregon and Creighton.
Creighton's a good squad. Creighton's a good squad.
Seed, to me, they're still better than Virginia.
Yeah, it's going to be crazy.
And they have a perennial "don't sleep on us" squad in there in VCU.
Yeah.
Yes.
VCU snuck up and bit some folks.
VCU is always that underdog that somehow they're in the Sweet 16. You're like, how the fuck they do that? Because it's VCU.
You know what
That's
really?
What they do.
You know what really intrigues me about this field is Michigan State UCLA playing game at the 11th spot in the.
I saw that and I laughed.
Let me sit here and tell you something.
Yeah.
Michigan State in the last couple weeks has beat Illinois,
It won what?
Michigan, and Ohio State. Okay, now let's rewind that. Illinois,
very good.
Michigan,
team.
Ohio State. All right, let's do it one more time.
Right,
Illinois is the number 1 seed.
Right, that's
Michigan's the number 1 seed. Ohio State's a 2 seed.
But we're also talking about Tom Izzo, so this really isn't surprising.
Correct.
And he doesn't have Carolina standing in his bracket, so he actually might have a chance to take a few W's back to the house.
Yeah.
And he has a tough bracket as well because Texas would be their second round matchup. BYU would be their second round matchup.
Bro, they're and the playing game, they're playing UCLA.
They're playing UCLA.
What?
Yeah.
UCLA hasn't been good for quite a while.
Well, I understand that, but
they've been good enough, but not good.
But I look at that and go, how is the playing game the number 11 game? Why is that?
That they've started doing that when they went to 68 teams.
Yeah, but why there? Why not?
I don't know. I don't know the
rest
logic
of the
behind
6
it.
teams.
It's money. Because talk about you want a made-for-TV movie, you got Michigan State, UCLA.
Mm-hmm.
You got two quote-unquote blue blood programs. And you got to add.
Well, why would you play in at 11?
I don't know the
just
logic. I don't know the
that.
logic there. I've never really paid attention to that logic. They actually recently just started doing it. All right, so let's do this. Let's talk. We've already talked about some interesting matchups, some
interesting brackets,
some intrigue.
Let's go through round by round.
Well, hold on. Let's talk. Yeah, let's talk about first round upsets.
Okay.
First round upsets, because we're not gonna take everybody's time and go through game by game.
Okay.
This is not not one of those.
Fair.
Let's talk about upsets that you have. Let's start in the West.
Okay.
What I mean, because to me, it's a lot chalk.
There's a lot of chalk.
Yeah, there's a lot of chalk here.
There's two
Okay.
that I'm looking at, and I'm gonna preface everything I say with this undisputable fact. I know fuck about college basketball, especially the.
But let me give you a little tip. 8-9 is not an upset.
I'm not going with 8-9. I'm gonna start for me, and I wrote So here's the thing. Because I know fuck all about college basketball, I'm winning the bracket.
Of course
between the
you
three
are,
of us.
because that's
of
the
course,
way-
because
that's the way
it
shit
is.
happens.
Because Shelly in the office pool
Unreal.
who picks the teams based upon the color of the uniform always.
Oh, and
fucking
we
wins.
are doing this
Yeah.
bracket challenge just between the three of us
Yeah.
here on the
Yeah.
show, and
Yeah.
we haven't come up with an either punishment or reward yet. But we're gonna be,
We'll figure it out.
We're going to be working on both, probably.
Yeah. All right.
I don't have any upsets.
I don't have any upsets
Okay.
in round one,
Okay.
so what you got, Dom?
Hold on. I have Wichita
Okay.
at the 11
Okay.
beating USC.
Ooh.
And
That's interesting.
And I'm coming in with VCU, man.
Okay. I can understand the VCU thing. Or the
VCU.
7-10 is very borderline 8-9. But
It's-
yes.
but
I
got
don't
major
disagree.
conference
Right. And
versus mid-major.
I don't have any upsets in the first round in the West.
I
Okay.
started to.
I think
when,
it's chalk.
when we were talking the Grand Canyon, that was one I was thinking about.
I was thinking about that
But
only because that's
I
where
was
my wife
scared
just
to put it.
started going to college.
Oh, okay.
What was this?
Grand Canyon.
Is she going to Grand Canyon
Yeah.
University?
Yeah.
What?
It's the one that had the program that she wanted, and the campus is beautiful.
That's not anywhere
Online.
near here.
No, it's online.
It's online.
Yeah, it's online.
So why does the campus being beautiful make it?
Because she can go to walk when she graduates, and they have a golf course and 6 swimming pools.
Well, sure, she could do that, but she could also just go there
But
for
she's-
no reason.
But she can and go on campus anytime she wants to.
Yeah.
All right, so let's go to round 2 in the West. So let's stick with the West. I have a pretty decent sized upset here.
Okay.
In the round of 32, I'm going USC over Kansas. USC has a Player of the Year candidate. They've actually been playing some hella good basketball.
Wait a minute. Are we going to?
We're still in the
32?
West.
Still in
We're
the West.
Yeah.
Still in the
Okay,
West.
Okay.
The round of 32.
Got it.
I got USC upsetting Kansas.
Sure.
And that is it, Dre. What else? Is that the only one you had too?
No, I have Oregon over Iowa.
Okay. Wow. Okay. And so, do you have Oregon losing to USC then?
Yes.
Okay. So that's not an upset.
I got Creighton beating Virginia, but
That's
that's
an-
not really much of an upset.
No, it's
You know what I'm
not
saying?
much of an upset, but eyeball wise and name recognition wise, it's an upset.
Yeah.
All right, Dom,
got-
did you have any in the
I
second
mean,
round?
I have Kansas moving on.
Okay.
Because I don't have USC there.
Sure,
But
sure.
I have VCU beating Iowa.
Okay, that's a major upset as
Sure,
well.
sure.
So, who do you guys have coming out of the West?
Kansas.
Okay, Dre.
Zags.
Yeah, same. Zags. All right, so let's move down.
And the reason I have Kansas coming out is because I have Uva beating the Zags.
Sure, Uva. Gotta love the Uvas. Gotta love the Uvas.
Look, if anybody is going to make that into a shit show and move on over them, it's going to be UVA.
Wrong.
Otherwise, they're going through to the Final Four.
All right, Kansas, Zags, Final Four in the West. All right, so first round upsets in the East here. What do you guys have? Let's start with you, Dom.
I know 8-9 isn't supposed
Not-
to be, but you
yeah.
keep talking about LSU
Yes.
being awesome.
They're good.
And I went with Bonaventure.
Yeah, I can understand that.
And then I went with UCLA.
Okay, over
then-
BYU.
Yes.
Okay.
And then I also grabbed Maryland.
Okay,
Yes.
I would agree with you on the Maryland front.
okay.
And let me throw out something interesting that I
Sure.
heard. I was watching some bracketology stuff today, and a guy brought up, no, you know what? This is on the radio. Episode 99.9 The Fan. Shout out to them. I was listening to them today, and they had a guy from CBS Sports talking about the Colorado-Georgetown game.
Sure.
Patrick Ewing's on this high. Georgetown's been playing well, et cetera, et cetera. They just won the Big East tournament, whatever.
Yep.
He said that when you talk about a team like Georgetown that put everything into that Big East tournament win, and then skip across the bracket, who we'll talk a little bit about in a little while, in the ACC champs in Georgia Tech, who spent everything they had emotionally in those wins, Georgetown and Georgia Tech.
Or in the forfeiture.
How much does that affect you mentally after literally Jose Alvarado said it was the main goal that they had was to win the ACC tournament? It was the biggest accomplishment they've had that they will have. And so did you spend everything you had emotionally to get in these games? I just think it's an interesting aspect to look at when you're picking winners. And for that reason and that argument, I went with Colorado there. Even though Georgetown's a sexy pick at 12, they are sexy pick because of all of the publicity that they've had recently. I agree with the eye roll, Dom. I agree. Don't get me wrong. I agree.
Okay.
All right. Now, my big upset, and one of the biggest upsets that I think is going to happen in the tournament, is that 13-4. I believe in Wes Miller and the Spartans of UNCG, and they have had a good program for a while and are now finally starting to get noticed as a winning program.
Okay.
Now, they won the SoCo conference, right?
Okay.
They were the best team from end to end.
Okay.
Wes Miller's got some good kids. He's got a great player.
So essentially what you're saying is that UNC Greensboro has the best program in the state of North Carolina this year?
Negative. That's a big negative. Because then you got to take in there
a transitive property. Florida State,
but then you got to. But Carolina also beat Florida State.
Yeah.
So you got to think about that. No, but I actually have them beating Florida State, beating Colorado, and losing to Michigan.
Shocks. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't.
Those are and I have Maryland and I have Texas coming out of this region.
Okay.
To go to the Final Four.
I have Texas and Michigan in the Elite Eight.
Same.
I do have Michigan coming out.
That's a good pick. Michigan's a good ball club.
Yeah.
Michigan's a good ball club.
Yeah.
Dre, what do you got?
All right, for my second round, I didn't even do anything with LSU, St. Bonaventure. I'm not even going to think about that. Georgetown beating Colorado. I believe they can do it. I don't believe in all that that hypeness. You know what I mean?
Sure.
All that's just someone's perspective on what they think someone else feels, and I don't really go with that kind of stuff.
I can
Wait a
think
minute.
that.
You have Georgetown over Colorado because you don't believe the hype?
Told you.
No,
I
I don't believe
said.
that people spent all their energy at.
Oh,
yeah. That's what he's saying.
I'm just not believing that Georgetown's all that.
No, they're 12 seed. And there's a reason they're
Exactly.
But people do ride emotional highs and momentum, especially in a tournament
that's where
like
it
this.
stops. Though I think FSU ends up beating Greensboro. That's not an upset, but my next upset I had was the Maryland over UConn.
Yeah, I think that's pretty common here.
Yeah. And
Did you have Maryland too? Mm-hmm. No, well, all three of us had Maryland.
Yeah.
I like the way they play, man. I think
that's going to be like the only one.
I've seen a lot of Maryland, and I don't believe in UConn.
Yeah.
All right, so who do you got coming out?
Bama.
Oh, okay. So we got Bama, Michigan, and Texas for me. All right, so let's move up to the top right-hand corner of the bracket. Let's go with the South.
Yep.
And Dre and I's beloved Carolina Tar Heels. So the first round upsets, man, it doesn't look really good for anything. Honestly, the only thing I have is Virginia Tech over Florida.
I have that too.
Me too.
And that's really all I have with that. Second round, I don't have anything.
I don't have this down, but I have an interest in this Winthrop Nova game.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And
Winthrop can shoot the ball.
I would like to see Winthrop.
So would I.
Make it through.
That
would be fun.
Just in case Carolina gets to the Sweet 16, I'd love to see that.
Well, I don't think they're getting past Purdue regardless. But
I would rather see not Nova if Carolina was lucky enough, fortunate enough to get past Baylor and Wisconsin.
I don't think Winthrop's going to upset Villanova.
Again,
but I would enjoy
the thing about the
very
tournament,
much.
Dom, because you're not a huge college basketball guy. So the thing about the tournament, and I know you've probably watched the tournament over and over again in your life because you're a sports guy. But the thing that you have to understand about the tournament is what wins games like this. Like not championship games, not Final Four games, not Elite Eight games.
Just one-offs.
Like 64s and 32s are three-point shooting.
Yeah.
And Winthrop has that.
Mm-hmm.
And anybody on this side of the bracket on these 64 games can win at any given moment.
Oh,
you
sure,
saw that with
sure.
UMBC and Virginia
Yeah.
a couple of years ago. So anybody can win when they get hot.
Yep.
And Carolina's lost as a 3 seed before to a 14 squad
Yep.
and as a 4 to a 13 squad.
And this is a 5-12. So.
yeah, we've lost
No,
as a
I'm just-
1 to an 8 squad.
Think that Winthrop's going to win that
It's
game.
probably the odds are against them. Yes.
But I would really like
Yeah.
to see them win the game.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, in my heart of hearts, I
Sure.
want to say that Carolina's going to beat Baylor in the second round. But if I'm
That's
this
not
is
bloody likely.
and you know what's
Yeah.
crazy is I'm just looking at this after I filled out the bracket. The only thing that is not chalk for me in this bracket is Virginia Tech and Nova beating Purdue. Everything else is chalk. I got Baylor coming out. I got
Yeah,
Baylor,
pretty
Ohio State
much,
in the
yeah.
Elite Eight.
So I have a team from
Texas
Same
Tech,
way.
making it to the Final Four.
North Texas or Texas Tech?
and it is not Baylor. I'm actually going with Texas Tech here.
They're a
I
big.
think
They're a
they
Big
beat
12
Ar-
squad.
Yeah, I think they beat Arkansas, and then I have them beating Virginia Tech in the Sweet 16,
Wow.
and then I have Purdue taking out Baylor. I know you're sitting there like
If that stuff
this-
was to happen, you would win a lot.
You'd
of
win a
fucking
lot of money.
dude.
You should
would
really
be-
enter this into the
Jeez,
bracket
I
challenge because
swear,
it's
you
free.
really should.
Yeah.
You really
free.
should, because you. if
And
it
nobody
happens
else is
like that,
picking it.
no one would ever catch you.
Nobody else is picking this shit. I'll tell you that. Unless
No
it's
one
Purdue
would
fans.
catch you. I'm
Unless they're
serious.
Purdue
again.
fans.
that in.
I am Shirley, and I am winning this bracket based upon the fact that I'm picking a Texas team
It's been
to
a
go to the
crazy
Final
year.
Four, and
Yeah.
it's not going to be any of the ones you think it is. It's
And-
not Texas, and it's not Baylor. Period.
Surely you can't be serious.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
All right.
All right. How about the West?
Baylor.
Midwest. Yeah.
Who do you got coming out again?
I got OSU coming
Okay.
out.
Who do you got, Dom? Texas Tech,
Yes.
Baylor, OSU.
Yes.
All right. Now, the Midwest, to me, I have one kind of upset. Well, one upset, and it's actually going a ways. I'm starting with Syracuse over San Diego State
I got the exact same thing.
because
I do too.
here's the thing about Syracuse, and people that like Mace, like they're 11 seed. What the fuck are you talking about?
That don't matter.
Think about this.
No.
With Syracuse's zone, people are so not used to seeing this.
when it's
And it
working,
takes a while to practice for it.
and
And
San Diego State has never seen
they're
it.
not the San Diego State of a couple years ago, but Syracuse,
no.
I actually have them losing to Illinois in the Elite Eight.
Really?
I have them beating San Diego State, beating West Virginia, and beating Houston. I just don't
wow.
beat in Houston.
wow, I have them
believe in
losing
Houston.
to West Virginia.
I don't believe in
next
Houston
round.
either, but I have them losing to West Virginia.
Yeah, I think Houston
Yeah.
is more of a undisciplined squad, and if you're an undisciplined squad against a team like Syracuse, you're not going to have a chance.
Yeah.
Who, Houston?
Yeah.
I got them going to the Final Four.
No, I get it. But if they have to play Syracuse, what I'm saying, that's where
Oh,
they're
that's
going to be their
gonna
matchup issue because they want to run and gun, and Syracuse is going to slow you down. And if you're trying to run and gun against that 2-3 matchup zone, you're not going to be able to do it.
Nah.
Yeah.
You have to be able to shoot your way out of it.
I don't see Syracuse even getting.
We'll see, man. They're
think
always
that- I think-
ended up in the Final Four.
Yeah.
So
I have them dropping to West.
I got Illinois winning this one.
You know what it is
I
for
do
me,
too.
man? I think it's something about Boeheim.
I
And
get
it's
it.
not that I don't like him.
I get it.
But maybe I just don't like him.
I get it.
You don't like him. It's
You
I
know
get
what
it.
I'm saying? Maybe
It's very
that's
clear.
what it
He
is.
he said a bunch of things about Greensboro and about
And-
the ACC tournament.
Yeah,
and all that
and
kind of
just
stuff.
the
So I get
ACC in
it.
general
I
when they
get
first
it.
came
Yeah.
in. You know what I mean?
I
It just
will
never
s-
really sat with me.
I know.
man.
I will say that I have one upset here in the first round that is notable. I do have Oregon State
Okay.
over Tennessee.
Tennessee's
they-
not that great.
Yeah, don't they have a suspension coming up
Probably.
or something like that?
They-
for
they
one of their
usually
top
do.
players.
They usually
yeah,
do.
27 guys who
Well, Bruce
participated
Pearl's
in a gangbang
gone.
or something like
Yeah.
that. I don't know.
Bruce Pearl's at Auburn.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
gone
Oh,
now.
yeah.
So.
Just touch on the Georgia Tech Loyola Chicago game.
Oh, yeah,
because
yeah.
that's
Yeah,
going to
yeah.
be pretty interesting. We alluded to this earlier. Georgia
I
Tech's the
think-
ACC champions
Yeah.
got shitted on a little bit with
I
the
have
9 seed.
I-
Tech winning
but,
too,
but they lose to Illinois.
yeah, Illinois is just way too talented, and
I have
they
them in
showed
the
that
Final
at the
Four,
beginning
like
of the
I
year.
said.
I
I do
know.
too. I have so Final Fours, boys. I got the Zags against Texas.
Yep.
Baylor, Illini. That's me.
I've got Kansas, Michigan, Texas Tech, Illinois. I've got Michigan and Illinois in the finals, and
Wow,
my
all
national,
Big Ten.
My national champion is Michigan.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I got Zags and Bama, and then I got OSU and Houston. Zags winning.
Against.
Houston.
Yeah. I got, just like I said, I got the Zags beating Texas. and Illinois beating Baylor, and the Zags winning and going undefeated for the first time
If I could
since
change it,
Indiana.
I probably would have put Illinois also because
Yeah.
right now they're playing.
They're on
some of the best
fire.
ball, man.
They are on fire. That Big Ten,
And
that Big
they're
Ten
fun
tournament.
to watch.
Oh, they
dude.
really are.
They are really
They
fun
are.
to watch,
and
man.
that Big Ten tournament was a blast.
Yeah, I hate saying that shit.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
it
know, man. But it was so much fun to watch. The quality of basketball in the Big Ten this year was so much better than the ACC, and it does suck to say it, but it's true, and we're realists, right? We have our bias, but
I'm
it's
going to ask the same question I did last time we talked about college basketball.
Okay.
Is the ACC bad now?
To this year, yeah.
I don't know about bad.
Not
our usual.
good.
We're not our usual.
No, it's definitely not.
I can say that the ACC recently has been better at football.
Oh yeah, for sure. And
Yeah.
we will definitely have a show
Yeah.
about this because
Yeah.
there is so many. Like we can spend. We're up against time at this moment, but I'm going to sit here and tell you, I could spend an hour talking about the ACC football.
Yeah.
and I look forward to that conversation. That's what I'll say.
So we have national champions. You have
Zags,
Wolverines. Okay.
Yeah, one seed. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly.
All right.
That's pretty chalk.
Yeah, that's. I mean, I went pretty chalk.
Yeah,
Texas
yeah.
is a 3
Yeah.
seed, but everybody else is a 1 seed.
Yeah.
And 2008 was the last time that all 4 Final Four teams were 1 seeds.
Yeah. That's not happening.
It's not going to happen this year.
I have 2.
Yeah,
have
I don't
two,
think
and
it's
they're
going
both
to
from
happen
the
this
Big
year.
Ten.
I was
I've
listening
only-
to what I think is going to happen, and
Yeah.
I was talking to Dre about this before we started this podcast. I think there's a lot of strength up top, the 1s and 2s. The 1 seeds, the 2 seeds, they're really good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Really good. I'm still a little suspect on Bama because it's Bama. But the 1 and 2 seeds are really good.
Yeah.
Everybody else after that, there's going to be a lot of upsets.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a lot of fun to watch.
Sure.
But it's going to be very weird because the number one, the tournament's not starting tomorrow. It's starting on Thursday.
Yeah. Yep.
So that's the first weird thing.
Okay.
Because normally the playing games are on Tuesday.
Sure.
And Wednesday.
Yep. But they have to have that COVID time.
But this year they're not having that.
Well,
Plus they're all in
when-
Indianapolis.
When the hell are they going to have the actual first round games?
Thursday.
The playing games
Friday and Saturday.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
The playing
Okay.
game?
The playing games are Thursday.
Yeah, but
The
then
actual first
okay.
rounds are Friday and
Okay.
Saturday.
Okay.
And it's
So-
weird.
All right. I'm going to use this as a transition point to get to our next topic,
Yes.
which is I think there are going to be a lot of the same circumstances in NHL hockey this year that there are in the NCAA brackets because you didn't have a lot of outside of conference play. So you didn't get a chance to see who's really good and who's playing against substandard competition.
Yeah.
So can I give you another lead into your
Yeah.
hockey segment?
Sure.
You have to win 6 in a row to be a national champion.
That's correct. You have to win 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 playoff series, a best of 7.
But how many wins does Carolina have in a row?
Carolina has more than that. Carolina.
They do.
So my Carolina Hurricanes, our Carolina Hurricanes, since we're all
Yeah,
from
Dom, get up on
Carolina.
your soapbox real quick. Talk about some Hurricanes
okay,
hockey.
First of all, Carolina is the hottest team in the NHL.
Yep.
First team to
They-
20 wins.
They are the first team to 20 wins. So Carolina is 26-1. So 20 wins, 6 losses, 1 overtime loss. They've only
Yikes.
lost 1 game in overtime.
Yikes.
They have 40 points, which is the second highest point total in the entire league. Excuse me, they've got 41.
Who's
The highest is New York Islanders. They
Okay.
have they're 19-6-4, so they have 1 fewer win, but they have 3 more. And they also, I think they played 2 or 3 more games than Carolina as well. Now, New York Islanders have been on fire. They're in the East. Carolina's in the Central. Hands down, the strongest on top conference in all of the reconferenced NHL.
Okay.
So you've got the Canes at 41 points with 20 wins, 6 losses, and 1 overtime loss. You've got the defending champion Tampa Bay Lightning. They're at 19-5-2. They're at 40 points. Florida Panthers 18-5-4, also 40 points. And then at 33 points, you have got the Chicago Blackhawks.
Wow.
That is a strong.
But you talked
strong
about how
conference.
unfairly unbalanced it was.
It's super
on our
unbalanced,
last-
and I'm going to get to that in a minute. The East is very strong too. So you've got at 42 points, you got the New York Islanders. They have been on fire recently, just like the Canes. Again, 8, consecutive
8 in a row.
wins.
Yep.
That's the first time in 12 years they've won 8 consecutive games.
Pretty crazy.
Okay, yeah. What happened 12 years ago?
I would assume
2009 was the last time they made a major run into the playoffs. Yeah, you had in the East, you have the Caps at 38 points, 17, 6, and 4. The Pens actually have gotten up in third place. Last time we talked about hockey, they were in fifth place.
Right. You were saying they might not make the playoffs.
They might not. It looks like they're in position now. You've got Boston, who was they weren't in the finals last year. They were in the Eastern Conference Finals last year. 14, 7, and 4 at 32, and then the Philadelphia Flyers, who were one of the best teams in all of hockey last year, are on the outside looking in. The West is brutal, man. The West, you've got 37 points at the top in Vegas, and people consider them one of the top teams in the league. And then you've got Minnesota out of the blue, have been on fire. I don't know who they've been playing. I haven't been paying much attention to the West, just because I think that it's so unbalanced. My expectation is that Colorado, St. Louis, and Vegas are going to come out of that, but Minnesota somehow snuck into this with 35 points. You've got 34 points at Colorado and 33 in St. Louis, and then a little ways down, you got 28 points in the LA Kings. And then you've got the North, which is just, come on, man. You have Toronto at 40 points, 19-9-2, and they've lost like 4 consecutive games. It's ridiculous. And you've got Winnipeg, Edmonton, Montreal, and then Calgary, who shouldn't even be mentioned as an NHL team right now. But then you've got more teams below them. It's pretty brutal. And they only have 7 teams in that conference, which is, it makes sense. There's only 7 Canadian teams, but at the same time, the Canadian teams, and I don't know why this is, but it's been at 2 decades since one of them has been competitive for the Stanley Cup, but they all got conference together.
I think Winnipeg was competitive a couple of years ago, maybe about 3 years ago. They tried to be, but they had Bafuglian, and how do you pronounce that guy's name? Bafuglian.
Sounds Swedish or Finnish.
Again, Toronto has 40 points. They're in the lead there. And then Winnipeg, Edmonton at 36, and Montreal at 31. All the powers in the East.
Right.
All the powers between the East
and the Central is what it sounds like.
Exactly. And all the power really is in the Central, because you've got 3 of the 5 best teams in the league are in the Central, and then everybody else but New York Islanders are chasing, period. And the fact that Carolina's won 8 straight games, a couple of them were in overtime, so they gave away some points to other teams. But, man, that is a hot streak. And they've done some of that against Florida. They've done some of that against Tampa Bay. They have that one. Wins against the Hawks. They have wins against Tampa Bay, Nashville.
We're going to have to set up a hockey day to come over here and watch some.
We're definitely going to have to do that. But look at their points scored. Okay, so they played 27 games so far. Aho has 25 points, 10 goals, 15 assists. Trocheck, this guy has been insane. He leads the team in goals, 13 goals, 11 assists, 24 points. Stahl. Everybody thought Stahl was finished. They were like, why is he the captain? He needs to be moved along. He's too old. 10 goals.
Wow.
12 assists. 22 points.
Resurgence.
That line right now that he's playing on, so I think it's Stahl, McGinn, and Fogle. They are beating the ever-loving shit out of people physically, and it is beautiful to watch. They play that line against the top offensive line from any other club, and they shut people down, and they're scoring because McGinn has 8 goals and 13 points with 5 assists.
I like that dude.
Svechnikov has 22 points. He's not been as much on the goal scoring. He only has 8 goals, but he has 14 assists, and those assists have been timely and beautiful. Dougie Hamilton has 8 or 9 straight games with a point, 21 points. He only has 3 goals, but he's coming on. He had a shorthanded goal yesterday. For the first goal of the game against the Red Wings, and it was gorgeous. 2-on-1 breakaway. And then Nino Niederreiter, he has 12 goals and 6 assists. And then you have guys that aren't even in contention for the points lead, but are playing beautifully. up from the taxi squad. So you've got Morgan Geeky, you've got Lawrence, Bean, and then their recent signing from Ottawa, Paquette, has added this edge of toughness to the team that they've needed. They needed an enforcer, a guy. If somebody slashed your top player or committed a bad penalty, they needed somebody who was going to come in there. And
you always need that enforcer, right?
Well, here's the thing. Paquette last year played for Tampa, who won the Stanley Cup.
Right.
Not one of their top line guys, and he was one of their third or fourth line guys, but he's a good, solid centerman. He wins over 50% of his faceoffs, and he does not care about giving that hit. And then the other guy that I didn't mention is Teuvo Teravainen. He's been hurt quite a bit, but once he's back in the lineup and mixed in, that's another super skilled player. You put him on that line with Aho, and then move McGinn over to that line. That line was killer. That's when McGinn was scoring so many goals.
Yeah,
but the most undervalued part of the Carolina Hurricanes right now is the fact that their goaltending is off the chain. They lost their number one goaltender. I don't know how many games into this season. Not too many games into the season. Peter Mrazek, he dislocated his thumb. He had thumb surgery. He's been out ever since. James Reimer, formerly of
Tampa Bay.
Formerly the Florida Panthers.
Well,
became their number one goaltender because he was the backup. Alexander Nedeljkovic comes up in the taxi squad. Now he was the Calder Cup winning goaltender in the AHL for the Charlotte Checkers 2 years ago. And I don't know the name of the award, but the Goaltender of the Year award in the AHL, he won that as well. This man has a 9.29 save percentage, and 2.08 goals against average.
Oh man, yo, I should.
Yeah, Reimer 9.08 save percentage, 2.71 goals against average. And they were playing Reimer as much as possible because I don't think Rod Brind'Amour had as much confidence in Nedeljkovic. But now they're playing every other game because Nedeljkovic is showing his skill set. They have had him in their developmental system for so long, and he's supposed to have been their goaltender of the future for so long, but he just hasn't had the opportunity. This year, he's getting that opportunity. He's getting an opportunity to play against real NHL talent, and the man is standing up. He's a little bit smaller stature goaltender, but his stick handling,
center of gravity.
His stick handling skills are impeccable. He has this classic poke check away, and he has zero fear. The cool thing about it is with the other goaltenders, the defenders have to come back and play a lot further into the defensive zone because they have to deal with the fact that their goaltenders really don't stick handle.
Yeah.
With Nedeljkovic, they can play a little bit more further forward into the defensive zone and understand that Nedeljkovic is going to get the puck. I think that after this season, he will at least get a position on the squad. Eventually, he's going to take over that position. I don't think that Reimer or Mrazek are the long-term solution.
They can't be. How old is Reimer anyway?
I don't know the answer to that, but he's pretty old. I think Nedeljkovic, and he's playing hella good. He's 5-1-0 in his last 6 games, and the one game that he lost, they just didn't have any offensive production. But man, last night he had a shutout intact. It would have been his second shutout of the season, but the Red Wings scored with 10 seconds to go in the game because the puck caromed off of Aho's skate in front of the goal. That was just a fluke goal. That happens from time to time, but man, the guy has been on point. I mean, both their goaltenders, both he and Reimer have been excellent.
I have somebody that could come in here and talk hockey with you and Dre.
Yeah, who's that?
Kiasha.
Yeah?
Yeah,
bring her.
Because we need to have
We ever have her
else
on with Joe Ovius.
Yeah, we need to have somebody else besides you and Dre that we can talk to because I'm just sitting back learning. I have no idea.
Just watch the game.
I know. I'm going to come over here.
That's really
all I know. I've been to the ones in person, and watching them on TV is just different. I know, but I know.
I'm serious.
I need to get
I
better.
will sit there and yell at my TV.
I know.
I need
to get better.
That's the only way I ended up learning hockey.
Yeah,
simply watching.
You don't have to watch any other team.
We're
just
gonna
watch the Canes.
We just need to have a full hockey episode so you can just
I think a
You
lot of
guys can
times
just
people
go off.
don't know a lot of the rules.
Yeah,
That's
it
what
looks
happens
a
in
lot like
sport,
basketball
so.
to me.
Okay.
Watching it on TV, I know you have some of the same positions; they're just called different, and it's 5 guys on the.
Well, a lot of sports are similar.
but
that way.
just the movements and stuff remind me a lot of basketball.
Sure. No, you're right.
It's
There's
the
a
same
pick
thing
and
with
roll.
soccer,
They're,
though.
Right,
they're
sure.
rotating.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mhm. Exactly.
Yeah. Taking shots from
Exactly.
outside the
The-
zone,
the-
inside the
the-
zone. Right.
The difference is there's the scoring is far fewer because goaltending is
Right.
part of the game.
Absolutely.
The other
Absolutely,
thing
you're
is
right.
it's so fast.
Yeah, I know, and it's hard.
I
It's hard.
don't want to say this, but I will. I think hockey players are probably the most athletic players out
Oh, it's
there.
crazy because they have to be on skates.
Yeah, they're
on
doing
ice.
everything that everybody else.
Those guys are on skates, but there's a lot of them that are like 6'4", 6'6". Like
And then
Dougie Hamilton, 6'5".
That's
Then you
the
have-
Mike Fuglin I was just talking about.
Super
Chara.
tall.
He's 6'5", 265.
Chara's 6'8",
You're
right?
talking about guys that are the size of professional basketball
or
players
football players.
rolling out there on fucking ice
Skates.
skates
Yeah.
with a stick and full pads. Holy
going
shit.
at 90 miles an hour.
Yeah.
I was gonna say they're usually
Ugh.
the same height as basketball players, but they're a lot bigger,
like defensive
on
linemen.
top
Oh,
of that.
yeah.
You know what I'm
and-
saying? Yeah,
but they have far
exactly.
fewer teeth.
Yeah, far fewer. But man,
All right. But before we wrap this up, is there anything else that you want to add?
Man.
Dom,
I just wanted to
Dre?
throw that out there. The Canes
Yeah,
have
man.
won 8 consecutive games. They are right now the best team in hockey, and I'm super excited going into the second half of the
Yeah.
season.
we waited a long time for this.
Well, yeah, it's been
Yeah.
a minute.
All I can add is go Heels, and my fingers are crossed.
Yeah.
But my expectations are low.
Well, I'm
Let's go Canes.
I'm gonna say let's go.
I'm aggressively
everybody in
pessimistic.
the ACC right now because
Yeah.
I would like everybody in the ACC to at least
Man, does that?
do well.
You know what, Dre? That means we're old.
Yeah.
When that happens, that means we're old.
because when I was younger, I wouldn't care.
Yeah, it's like
about
who
any
cares
of them.
anything?
As long
Like,
as
go
USC
go
wins.
Carolina. Nobody gives a shit
You know
about
what?
Georgia.
Get old now. It's just about the area.
You know what? That's a very
It's about being
COVID
old.
mentality.
It really is.
It is.
All
Yeah.
right, we're going to go ahead and wrap up this episode of the Joe Schmo Sports Show. Please don't ever forget to rate, subscribe, review the podcast.
You can find us on iTunes.
Share.
You can find us on
Yes.
Stitcher.
Share
you
us
can
with
find
friends.
us on Google Podcast, Amazon,
and all of the
and,
social media at J Schmo Sports.
Yeah, don't forget Spotify.
Mhm.
Yeah, J Schmo Sports everywhere on social media.
Yep, and the Joe Schmo Sports Show at gmail.com
And-
if you have any questions or
and
suggestions.
please don't forget, I am still giving away Clubhouse
yes, Clubhouse
invitations
invites
to the first 3 people that give us a 5-star review.
that actually answer.
Yeah, exactly. When we try to figure out who you are, you have to let us know who you are. Hey, I gave you a 5-star review. Come claim your Clubhouse invite.
And before Dom says his typical thing to get us out, I just want to say thank you again so much to DJ Skaz
Yes.
Digga for hitting us with some fire theme music.
The whole entertainment company.
Yeah.
Man.
It was a pleasure and an honor to get to work with DJ Skaz Digga, and
Yes, it
we
is.
cannot thank him enough for
And if-
the theme music.
And if you want to find out where DJ Skazdigga is,
oh yeah,
you can just go to our page,
Yep.
which is Joe Schmo Sports Show,
.com.
joeschmosportsshow.com,
Yeah.
or you can email us at joeschmosportsshow@gmail.com.
All right,
and
now-
we will let you know where he is.
Hey, also look out. We got some stuff coming out. D-Todd's gonna come out
Oh,
with
yeah.
some stuff, new podcast, and we also have the Liquid Soapbox that'll be coming out. really
Liquid
soon.
Soapbox
So
is coming out soon,
yeah,
and
really need to
also
look
we're
for
gonna hit
that.
that on you guys.
and also, Dre, why don't you show them their T-shirt, man? Dre is rocking the Joe
Can't
Schmo
stand up.
Sports Show T-shirt, man.
They can see
We got the
that.
logo on there. We
Yep.
got several different
Turn around
versions.
to the
We
right
got
there.
a hoodie coming out and some other stuff.
That's it.
Be looking out for your opportunity to pick those up because those are some hot threads.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
hey man, we're just everyday
Hot
people.
threads in
Yeah.
a long time.
Yeah.
So with
And
that being said, Dom,
cut to the theme music.